Alright, if you're receiving this video and watching this video right now, chances are that you've gotten this link because I've sent you this template. Real quick explanation of what this is. This is a template for creating programs for strength training. Doesn't matter the type, works for really anything you want. It was designed by a weightlifting coach for the Olympic lifts, but it can be used for anything you want to. A guy out of Houston, Texas made this template. Works really well. Supposed to make programming really, really easy and really, really effective in terms of tracking progress, intensity levels. That way you're not killing athletes and clients in the training sessions you do. First thing I'm going to have you do, and always remember to do whenever you start a new program, first thing you want to do, you want to go in and you want to save it as something else. This way you don't lose the template. So for this, I'm just going to name this the video test template, and that will give me a second file, basically copies the file over, that way you don't lose it. So first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at the fact that there are 3 different tabs down here. Step 1 is where you'll actually be writing your program out. You can see it in the secondary template that kind of shows a full out 12-week program that's written on it. That this is basically your main page. Okay. Step 2 we'll get to in a little bit, but this is where we're going to be putting in all of our exercises, our maxes, and it's going to spit out a lot of data. And then the back page, if you really want to look at it, this is a massive data counter for the whole program, designed to hold up to 11, I think actually 12 weeks of program. So something that you can also look at to track intensity levels and as a way to kind of keep from burning athletes out and kind of killing them. Or if you're trying to do some planned overreaching, trying to hit into some different areas of a training program, you're going to be able to do that pretty well. Okay, so the first thing you can look at here, because this is on page 2, just to show you how this template was designed. It was designed to start counting percent intensity at 60%. So if you're writing a program based off of percentages, I suggest you start at 60% for all of these. Now this template's got a couple cool features, but we're going to basically show you how this works and what's going to happen. Over here, you can see in this highlighted box, this is the exercise box. You enter all of your exercises into here, and that will pull every information you need later on in step 2 that will spit out programs. Okay, so let's just say we're going to start with some very basic stuff. Let's just say we're going to back squat. Okay, this is going to be our main exercise for, say, week 1, day 1. Okay, then we're going to start counting our intensity at 60%. So in column M right here where the highlighted box is, we're going to go ahead and put just 60. Don't need to put the percent sign. It puts it in there for you. Now the one thing that's really different about this, most people count sets first, then reps. This template's designed in a little different way. It's based off of a Russian model for strength training, which lists reps first, then sets. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, this is really cool because all I have to do here, now I hit, say I want to do 3 reps at 60% and I want to do 1 set. Then I can come back to my percent chart and say, well, I want my next set to be 70%. And I also want to do 3 reps and I only want to do 1 set. Now, say I want to do a 3rd set or maybe 3 working sets at 80% of 2 reps and I want to do 3 sets. And that's going to give all the information I need to give an athlete. Now what's cool as a coach is that you can look over here, and we're going to highlight over here, directly across from week 1, day 1, in the same column you have the exercise, you have the total number of reps you did of that exercise in column S, your average intensity, which is going to be the weight or the average weight used for that exercise, relative intensity, which doesn't get calculated for the exercise but will get calculated out for the session. This gives you the same number. This right here will get added up in a little bit. And this percentage over here is your total percent intensity for the training session. So we're going to go back to exercise in column L. And let's just say we're going to add in a deadlift. This gives you a little bit more variety. You'll see some extra numbers start spitting out in column W and in column S and T. So once again, we'll go 60%, 3 reps, 1 set. Same thing again, 70%, 3 reps, 1 set. And then we'll continue this pattern just to show you how this kind of works. So 2 reps, 3 sets. Now, if we go back to column S, what we see is that we still have, it's adding up the total number of deadlift reps, which is 12. The intensity, you'll see in a second when we add these in on step 2, but it will spit out the average weight. Up here in column V, it's spitting out the number of reps per session. Okay, so this is pretty cool how this does this. So average percent intensity is still at 72%. That's for your whole session or training or workout, however you want to call it. Okay. Now, let's say I want to start a new day. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to skip a line from my last percentage. So I have 80%. I skip a line, and then I can come down here and go over. All I have to do is type in day 2 with a space. Make sure there's a space between the Y and the 2, and that will create a whole new column that you can see all the way across the spreadsheet. Okay. Now I'll show you a couple different extra functions, how this kind of ties in some extra features that's kind of useful. Let's say we're going to do some unilateral work. Maybe we're doing some barbell lunges, and we want to count the percent, which we don't really have one, so that's fine. We can just put an X, okay, because this is just some kind of weight that we've added that's relative to how they feel per day. That's okay. Now, let's say we want them to do 9 reps each leg. Okay, and this is the one downfall of the template right now. We're working on fixing this. But what I can do is I can do 9 plus 9. And let's say we do 3 sets. What that does is it adds these two numbers together, and it adds it up for that exercise. Now, you can add a weight in here, I believe, but let's just say 135 pounds. Okay. I don't think it really likes that because it's got a big thing for that. So actually, let's not do that. Let's undo. But they can put that in their own personal training log or write it down however they want. Okay. So that's something. We can do the same thing for curls. Maybe they want to do some bicep curls in the day. Once again, let's just say they did 3 sets of 8. Okay, but 8 plus 8, 3 sets. Okay, now we still see it counts out total number of reps for the exercise. We have total number of reps for that workout. Because there's no percentages, nobody's really going to do a max curl or a max lunge, but it won't spit out a relative percentage or relative intensity, but it's still tracking your reps here a lot, so it's tracking your volume. Now, same way we did the day 2, if you want to create a second week, okay, so I have my curls, I take an extra space, take one extra space, go all the way across into column J, type out week 2, and just hit down or enter. Now it starts me back at day 1. Okay, so you see here in the highlighted column, that's day 1. Now I can start programming all over again. Now, the one thing that's really cool about this function, we're going to go back up here to day 2 in week 1. The one thing that's cool is I can actually go up to 3 numbers in this. Let's just say some person's kind of freaky and has 3 arms. You can actually do 8 plus 8 plus 8, okay? And it'll actually calculate up to 3 numbers. This was, like I said, this was designed a little bit more for the Olympic lift. So if you have somebody doing 1 clean plus 3 front squats plus 2 split jerks, it'll count it out all the way to the total number of reps that you do in that session. Okay, so that's kind of cool. That's the way that works. Once again, just create a space between each day that you want to create and each week that you want to create. All right, so now we're going to go in and we're going to go over step 2 real quick, because this kind of helps us out to understand how we're going to get our relative intensities and relative average weights for the session. Okay, so let's just say we use back squats, we use deadlifts, and we'll say that somebody did a barbell. Well, we won't say that anybody did a barbell lunge, but that's okay. Now, let's just say they have a max back squat of 300 pounds, and they have a max deadlift of 315 pounds. Okay, so now we have our maxes in here, which is great. So that will spit out some weights here in a second. Now on this page, you're already going to see some numbers spit out right here. Total percent of reps for the program is 50% here and 50% here of the listed exercise. Now I can go in here and list lunges, and it should. Actually, I need barbell lunges because I put it on the other page. But barbell lunges, it should split it out. And you'll see there 69% of the total reps in the program have been from barbell lunges. And then I can add in curls. And there you go, you'll see it added in. So you can add whatever exercises you want in here. Let's say I want to add a front squat and a bench press. And now when I go to program, and let's just say for these exercises, let's say they have a front squat max of 225 pounds, a bench press of 225 pounds, just for kicks and giggles. Okay, so we can go back to step 1, and what you'll see, if we go back to week 1, day 1, these percentages start to have numbers attached to them. So all of a sudden now I see I have my back squat exercise. I know my percent, which is 60. I have 3 reps for 1 set at 180 pounds. Okay, so it's gonna start spitting your weights out. Same thing, 70% for 3 reps, 1 set at 210 pounds. So it kind of allows you to track and spit out weights automatically for you, which is really cool. Helps you not have to do a bunch of math and bring out a calculator all the time. Then what you see when you come back over here to your column R and on through column Z, what you see is that now you have your exercise, your total number of reps. This average intensity is your average weight used for that workout and for that exercise, as well as your average percent intensity. And what's cool is then we go into here in column W, this total average intensity is the average weight you use for the whole workout. So it's not just the exercise. That combines the average weight for the deadlift with the average weight for the back squat and spits out an average weight overall. Okay. Now, it doesn't really matter if you go step 2 to step 1. What that does is that you can either plan a bunch of exercises, then go to step 2 and put all the exercises that you used back here, or I can put it in here first in step 2 and put in my maxes, then I can go ahead and fill this out. All right. Now, it doesn't really matter. I will say with that, it gets kind of crowded up when you get into the weights, because it's going to start spitting out a ton of numbers at first, and sometimes that can be confusing and you may punch some wrong buttons. Now, the cool thing with this, we're going to go to the data chart, and this data chart's kind of fun because what it does is it calculates out everything for week 1. Okay, so I have day 1 total number of reps, average intensity, average percent intensity, and a running rep total for the whole program. Then it'll spit out day 2, I did 126 reps. There's no relative intensity that we know of because We had exercises that are just relative to how they're feeling for the day and don't really max out on. And then we also have no average intensity, but it counts up all of our reps and has a running total. Okay, so we're gonna go back to step one. We're just gonna fill in real quick just to give some extra information here to show you a little bit further. Say we did a bench press at 60%, and we did 3 sets of 1, and we did 70% for 3 reps of 1 set. Then we did 80%, 3 reps, 1 set. Now let's say we did 90%. Okay, just to throw in a loop here, and we did 3 sets of 1. Then I can go in and maybe we did some front squatting and we followed the same pattern. So 60%, 1 here. Then I went 70% for 1 set of 3 here, 80%, 1 set of 3, and then 90% for 3 sets of 1. Okay, so this has now spit out a ton of different numbers and more information. Now we go to step 2. We see total number of reps in this program that 41% of our reps have been done doing curls, and 6.9% versus all the other exercises, 72 reps of curls versus 12 reps of deadlifts, etc. You're also going to see how many reps you've done between each percentage range. Okay, you can enter in any percentage you want from 60 to 100. You could do 62, you could do 71, 83, 88. It doesn't matter how many or what percentage it is, but it matters that it counts above 60%, or else you're just going to have a blank column, which isn't the end of the world. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes athletes feel really good and they can make big jumps up to certain weights, such as 80% and on. Now with our data chart, now we have information in week 2, and we did 24 reps on day 1 of week 2. Our average intensity on that first day was 75%, and now we have a running rep total for the whole program of 174 reps. So that's kind of some cool stuff that you can do with this program and how it works. As you see in the test template that also got sent to you, there's a way to kind of make this a little more readable for athletes. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight real quick. We're going to highlight this one column right here. That's week 1. And you have this cool tool up top. This is called the merge and center tool. So if you click that, it will merge all of those cells and center the 1 week in there. Okay, so now all I have to do to look at week 1 is go here. And then you can do this with days too. And to make your life easier, you can click day 1, and then you can hit the F4 key, and that probably will show up here. But actually, just undo that real quick because I forgot to highlight the actual day part. So if I highlight actual day, then I hit merge and center, hit OK, and I hit day 2, F4, and what that does, now you can see everything's kind of broken out. So I'm going to show you what we can do here is we can highlight all of this. We can go to our highlighting column, and this makes it really easy to read for athletes. Let's just say I have a really dark green. And then I can highlight everything in day 1. So let's just say day 1 is here. And I can go a shade lighter. And I can also go a shade lighter for day 2. We can go a different shade here. And then I can start shading in different areas. We can make different shades of colors. This kind of gives you a little bit of a differentiation between days and exercises. Helps out a little bit with athletes to understand. And then let's just say I went to week 2, and you can either make it the same color, or if you want, you can make it another color. So let's just say we make it gold, or I'm colorblind, so I don't really know what this color is. But then you can, again, go over, highlight, choose a different shade. Choose a different shade for your bench press. And that way it makes it a little more readable. I went all the way down there. Wow, okay. But yeah, makes it a little more readable for athletes. Um, and then you can kind of just give them this template. The other cool thing is if you go and highlight these columns, so I have this arrow here. You can see it above R. If I go R and I drag over, and let's just say we don't want to bother an athlete with all these percentages because sometimes they get kind of worried. I can highlight all these columns, R through X. I can right click, and then I can do this little function called hide. Okay, and so then this black line is going to appear, and you'll kind of see once I get around, or if I click anywhere really up top and I get this solid black line with the arrows, I can right click again and hit unhide. And there we go, let's go unhide. That wasn't right. Anyway, here we go. Hit Q. I can hit unhide somewhere. No, this isn't working the way I thought it was, but it's okay. We will get it back in a second. If you figure out how to use the unhide button, that's really cool. That's really great. So there's ways you can also copy and paste these things to a Word document. If you know how to do that, great. But this is kind of how this whole template works. I hope that helps you, and that you can use this program to do whatever. Powerlifting, bodybuilding, anything, you name it. This can help you kind of track intensities for athletes or patients, clients, whoever you're dealing with, to try to get them back on track and get them hitting their goals a little bit faster. So yeah, hope that helps. Have fun, toy around with it. Remember to save as something different. Okay, so I save this as video test template, and if I want to, I can come back here and click on the template for programs 2, which is just the name it has right now, and I can pull that back up, and now I have the whole thing clear to start over. This is also really great because if you mess up on the original, so if I were doing this and I made like a major mess up, like deleted one of the formulas that's in the cell already, I can go ahead and I can just scratch it, come back to the original template that I have because I saved that original template as something else. That kind of helps you out so you don't lose this. All right, so I hope that helps. Hope you use this to the best of your ability, or if this is something that doesn't interest you, maybe it doesn't help, but at least you have it as something that's kind of in your arsenal and a tool to use. So good luck programming. Good luck to any of your athletes that use programs based off of this. And yeah.